Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to the show today. Ooh, my voice sounds deep. It's a deeper voice today. Oh.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, my. I've got a voice that sounds like George Takei. He says, oh, my. And so does that guy from used to be with the band New Edition. It was Johnny Gill. That's right. I have such like a premonition because
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I had a strange thing in my sleep that I was dreaming about that came true. Doesn't that happen? Is that deja vu
Mike's
to you?
Daily
I'm not sure.
Podcast.
It's FF episode
Yeah!
2280 2280. And Mike Matthews, I could not do a show last night because... What? Oh, stop everything. Stop the show. Stop it. No, I can't stop it. The music keeps playing. I got a email. The subject line says, Mike, you rock. You can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. I'm, however, starting to get the feeling this might be a form email that was just sent out to a bunch of podcasters. Let's read it and have our dreams and not ambitions, but the other thing. Expectations crushed, dashed. Here we go. Hi, Mike. Just wanted to reach out and say you're awesome. I just discovered your podcast, Mike's Daily Podcast. You did a really good job. In fact, I was thinking that the topics you cover are exactly the kind of content that would work really well as an audio course. That's actually part of why I'm reaching out today. I'm the senior producer at Listenable, one of the world's leading audio-based learning platforms. I wanted to invite you personally to join. Audio course? This is an audio course? Well, actually, I was going to discuss something that might be beneficial to you.
And here's today's podcast picture.
That might help you in your life. For, as you see, I, Mike Matthews, have not been sleeping well lately. Have been sleeping horribly. And if I'm a wimp. If I get like 1 or 2 bad nights of sleep, I am just a wreck. Some of you can get by with no sleep at all the time. That's not Mike. Not only that, I have a face that is not built for the sleepy rings around the eyes thing. It does not help me at all. My grandfather always had the big bags under his eyes. That's right, Basil. You never met my grandfather. The late great Basil the Boxer. Perhaps my late great grandfather is with Basil walking up in heaven. Aww. So, that's right, Basil the Boxer. I do not have the face that can pull off the whole bags under the eyes thing, and so I need my sleep. The podcast picture today is of a beautiful spot in Alameda. And it's got boats in it, and I think you'll like it. It's at mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh, I believe this is the area right across from Jack London Square. And I took this picture. I'm counting. Give me a second to count. 3 years ago. 4 years ago is what I was saying. 4 years ago, this picture was taken. You can see it at mikesdailypodcast.com. Almost 4 years ago to the day. And it was a beautiful walk I took with Basil the Boxer, the late great Basil the Boxer. Oh, we had such great walks, he and I, all over the Bay Area. Walk through the world with me. Walk through the world. Well, speaking of which, my lovely lady friend yesterday went for a walk. When she came back to my place, because she had left from my place, when she came back to my place, she realized that she had forgotten her key. And she was locked out. And that led to her, I told her, hey, there are some people that I know. Perhaps they have, I know I gave them a key way back when because they actually watched Basil the Boxer years and years ago when I was in Florida. So perhaps they are there now and they have the key and they can let you into my house. Turns out they did not. However, they took her in. these nice people, and she's a therapist, so she was able to do a session on their computer. They had a camera set up on the computers because they do Zoom calls with their kids, so they did, because their kids live elsewhere. And so she was able to, they were so nice, so kind, so helpful. I went to pick her up later, and they offered me a glass of wine. What nice, neighborly, wonderful, super awesome people. And this is all the reason why you should give keys to everybody. That's cool. That's nice. So I'm going to give them a spare key in case this happens in the future. But they were very kind. All right, so getting sleep. We need to sleep more. We need to try and sleep. Getting in sync with your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, or circadian rhythm, is the key. The circadian rhythm. There was a band I loved called Ocean Blue, and they had a song, I think it was called Circadian or something. They were awesome. They were like in the 90s, but they sounded like a band from the 80s, which everybody now sounds like the 80s just about. But so they are one of the most important strategies for sleeping better. Circadian rhythms are. If you keep a regular sleep-wake schedule, you'll feel much more refreshed and energized than if you sleep the same number of hours at different times, even if you alter your sleep schedule by an hour or two. So you should try to go to sleep and get up at the same time every day. This helps your internal clock and optimizes the quality of sleep. Choose a bedtime when you normally feel tired so that you don't toss and turn. I feel tired, I go to sleep. If you're getting enough sleep, you should wake up naturally without an alarm. That actually happened even though I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning because I had to be at my job by like 5:30, and I got used to waking up. Actually, it was like 4. Yeah, I got used to waking up at 4. I absolutely said, I will not get up any earlier than 4. I will get up at 4. And every day without an alarm, I would get up at 4. Sometimes my dog, the late great Basil the Boxer, would wake me up for me because he knew I was going to feed him right then. And he had his alarm go off at the same time. So it worked out great. Only thing was, on the weekends, his alarm still went off at 4:30, and I was waking up incredibly early on the weekends. But we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. And occasionally I talk fast. Podcastro Valley, Mont. If you need an alarm clock, you may need an earlier bedtime. That's an interesting concept. Avoid sleeping in, even on the weekends. The more your weekday sleep schedules differ, the worse the jet lag symptoms you'll experience. That's a good point. If you need to make up for a late night, opt for a daytime nap rather than sleeping in. This allows you to pay off your sleep debt without disturbing your natural sleep-wake rhythm. So that is what is sacrosanct, is getting up, going to sleep, and getting up at the same time. Being as regular with that as possible. Be smart about napping. While napping is a good way to make up for lost sleep, if you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep at night, napping can make things worse. Limit naps to 15 to 20 minutes in the early afternoon. Don't go for like 2 hours or 3 hours, as I know some people do. And then it says here, start the day with a healthy breakfast. Fight after dinner drowsiness. If you get sleepy way before your bedtime, get off the couch and do something mildly stimulating, such as washing the dishes, calling a friend, going for a walk, getting clothes ready for the next day. If you give in to the drowsiness, you may wake up later in the night and have trouble getting back to sleep. That happened to me last night. Control your exposure to light. Melatonin is a naturally occurring hormone controlled by light exposure that helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle. Your brain secretes more melatonin when it's dark, making you sleepy, and less when it's light, making you more alert. However, many aspects of modern life can alter your body's production of melatonin and shift your circadian rhythm. During the day, expose yourself to bright sunlight in the morning. The closer to the time you get up, the better. Have your coffee outside, for example. Eat breakfast by a sunny window. The light on your face wakes you up. Spend more time outside during daylight. Take your work breaks outside. Let as much natural light into your home or workspace as possible. Keep the curtains up. If necessary, use a light therapy box. Then at night, that's an interesting thing, a light therapy box. And that's good, for the shorter winter days. Then at night, avoid bright screens within 1 to 2 hours of your bedtime. Say no to late night television. Don't read with backlit devices. When it's time to sleep, make sure the room is dark and keep the lights down if you get up during the night. Then it says here, exercise during the day for better sleep. Time your exercise right. Be smart about what you eat or drink. Focus on heart-healthy diets. Cut back on sugary foods and refined carbs, processed carbs. Limit caffeine and nicotine. Avoid big meals at night. Avoid alcohol before bed. Avoid drinking too many liquids in the evening. And then you want to wind down and clear your head. Put away the cell phone. Put away the social media. Deep breathing exercises can help. And improve your sleep environment. Keep it cool. Keep the noise down. Make your bed comfortable. Reserve your bed for sleeping. And the other thing, learn ways to get back to sleep. Stay out of your head. Hard as it may be, try not to stress over your inability to fall asleep again, because that stress only encourages your body to stay awake. That happened to me this morning. To stay out of your head, focus on the feelings in your body or practice breathing exercises. Take a breath in, then breathe out slowly while saying or thinking the word ah. Ah. Take another breath and repeat. Make relaxation your goal, not sleep. If you find it hard to fall back asleep, try a relaxation technique, such as visualization, progressive muscle relaxation, or meditation, which can be done without even getting out of bed. Even though it's not a replacement for sleep, relaxation can still help rejuvenate your body. Someone told me if you can't fall asleep, get up and take a walk. But that's actually opposite what they're saying here. Do a quiet, non-stimulating activity. If you've been awake for more than 15 minutes, get out of bed and do a quiet, non-stimulating activity, such as reading a book. I think taking a walk would probably be thought of as stimulating. So keep the lights dim. Avoid screens, so not to cue your body that it's time to wake up, because that light does that. And postpone worrying and brainstorming. That's my big problem. If you wake during the night feeling anxious about something, make a brief note of it on a piece of paper and postpone worrying about it until the next day, when it will be easier to resolve. That has actually worked. That worked for me fairly recently. I had an idea, a thought. I got up, I wrote it on a piece of paper. I've got all this scratch paper all over the place. I was just telling a coworker about that. I keep scratch paper around all the time. I wrote it down on the piece of paper, not using the cell phone because the light can stimulate you and all that. The screen can stimulate. The screen can wake you up. Screens kill dreams. And I wrote it on a piece of paper and instantly felt more relaxed and was able to get back to sleep. Similarly, if a great idea is keeping you awake, make a note of it on a piece of paper, fall back to sleep knowing you'll be much more productive after a good night's rest. Postpone that worry. I love that. So good. We're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. And that was from helpguide.org. Helpguide.org. Look who's here right now. Hi, Mac. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a disgruntled player. Tell you what.
What?
I never sleep. I'm always awake because I'm disgruntled.
Oh, look who else is here.
Oh, Mac, I made you delicious root beer. Have to right now.
We shouldn't let things overwhelm us. We shouldn't let things get to us that are menial, that are small. Crying over spilt milk, that cliche thing that I was telling you about. The author of that article I was writing just hated that expression, but it's so true. It is so menial. This is just spilt milk. A little bit of milk. Why are we crying? Or remember the scene from that Seinfeld where the girl dropped a Frankfurter on the ground at some baseball game, and she left my Frankfurter. I dropped my Frankfurter on the ground. Yet, like, her sister dies, and she doesn't. Whatever. But she cries about the Frankfurter on the ground. Priorities, right? Right? Am I right? Right? I hate saying that. What would you call that when you say the word right? Is it not? Is it being like a millennial? Is it like a crutch word? We all have crutches. We all need crutches now and then. Something to help us get through a situation. Like not finding the right word to say that would be more perfect in this situation. Is it a self-adjuster, a modifier, a way to keep the conversation going? Is it asking for help? Is it asking for, I'm insecure, so I need you to respond to me? Like pastors. Have you ever seen a pastor at a church when they're asking the congregation questions all the time? And this disciple did what? He did what? He went down to the River Jordan, and what did he do at the River Jordan? They always asking questions because they want to make sure their congregation's awake. I don't know really if it's an insecurity thing, but maybe it is. That's the way. That's kind of that. But churches have a lot of the call and respond thing. That's gospel music is full of that. I guess it's a tradition. Anyway, cafe. Anyway, thank you for the great root beer.
Yeah, I hope you like it. Drink right now. I'll cut you.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. Next show it'll be the wonderful Madam Rutabaga, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. If you'd like to chime in about anything that we covered, call me 336-MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily is in what this podcast has been now. Oh my gosh. For 3 days in a row. That's amazing. No, it hasn't been for 3 days. We took a day off. Oh, well. But it was crazy yesterday. You remember that? I told you that earlier in the podcast. Okay, thanks for listening.
No. That's okay, Mike. Busting your... Anyhow,
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!